Back in 2008, when EA released Need for Speed Undercover right after Pro Street, it seemed like they were going back to stick to their formula that they were used to for many years. But a surprising turn occurred when Slightly Mad Studios were hired to helm the next Need for Speed title, and what we got was just simply taking Need for Speed Pro Street, which was still a fun arcade racing game with a sprinkle of Gran Turismo and Forza, and turning it into a full-fledged racing simulator with Need for Speed Shift. Need for Speed Shift was actually my first video game that I ever actually pre-ordered before, so to get this game right at launch was a great experience for me. This was certainly a much different kind of game that Need for Speed fans were used to. Not only were we back on legal racetracks, but we are now given the option to race in full cockpits and race types that feel way more realistic, but with still a bit of an arcade feel to it. The first thing I'm going to say about this game that is just way too loud. As soon as you start the game, you're introduced to the logos with the alarming sound of race cars blaring in your eardrums. Now, I get that racing in real life isn't certainly a quiet endeavor, but it just seems to me that this was a bit overdoing it because I am just trying to play a game without having to wake up my neighbors. Now, the sound within the game itself is great because everything seems like you are racing in legit race cars. Once you create a profile, you are then brought into a brief tutorial which is going to test your skills to determine which difficulty level you should be on. You can turn a lot of things on or off like traction control, the racing line, anti-lock brakes, your transmission, and so forth. You have two ways to play the game. You can either be clean and precise or dirty and aggressive. Depending on how you race, you will earn points for it. You have 2 meters that will increase over time that tracks what kind of a racer you are, precision and aggression. All of these points are added into your total rank that increases over time. I really like this because it gives you a way to look at what actual kind of racer you are, and maybe if you never realized how aggressive of a driver you are, maybe this can be a way for you to improve on that. I even felt like once I started playing Shift for the first time back in 2009, I started to become a better racer in all other types of racing games because I always was so used to doing street racing arcade games and I was never really into Gran Turismo at the time, so Need for Speed Shift gave me that opportunity to take my racing skills and improve on them a lot. Now, funny enough, I didn't become a really good racer in video games until Midnight Club Los Angeles came out, but that is another story for the future. Each time you rank up, you are receiving new rewards such as money, garage space for newer vehicles. There are 50 ranks in total, and at the end of each race you are given more rewards depending on how well you are driving, such as mastering corners, how many consecutive races you win, trading paint, the difficulty level you play on, and much more. This is great because it can give you a bunch of goals to reach and objectives to complete. The car selection is really good as well. There are a total around 60 plus cars that are divided into 4 tiers. The first tier you will find cars like the Honda Civic, Ford Escort, Audi S4, and the Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR. Tier 2 will get you cars like the Skyline R34, N3 E92, the Challenger, Evos, and Camaro. Tier 3 you will find the GTR R35, Audi R8, Lambos, Porsche 911, Ford GT, and Tier 4 will get you cars that I didn't even know existed until I played this game back in 2009, like the Koenigsegg CCX and the Bugatti Veyron. All of these cars are upgradable and you can add things called works, which means that it will take your car and overhaul the hell out of it. Not all cars have this ability to have this option, specifically Tier 4 cars. There is an option where as well you can put vinyls onto the vehicle yourself, but I always thought it wasn't that great in the video game and I never really messed with it. I either went with the base colors or the in-game made vinyl wraps. So the whole purpose of this game is to race your way to the top and win the Need for Speed World Tour. On your way there, you will compete in numerous kinds of races such as manufactured races where everyone is given a specific car to drive, which is great because it can give you a chance to drive higher tier cars before having to buy them. Time attack, which is self-explanatory, country-specific events where it's either all American, Japanese, or European. You are then given events where those countries can battle each other and race their own vehicles, and you can choose which ones that it gives you, so that way you have an opportunity to choose which side you want to be on, essentially. The best thing I really like about this game is how different they made the drifting. There are drifting events you can play and only specific cars can be made for drifting. No more taking all-wheel drive cars into drift courses. Now, for beginners, the drifting can be very intimidating because you slide around so much and you have to manage how to handle that sliding and turn it into a good drift. At first, a lot of people are just going to avoid drifting altogether like I did when I first got this game, but after failing so many times, I did improve and now it is the main events that I look for in every list. The handling for the cars overall feel very good as well, and the AI responds pretty well to how the way you play. There are times where the AI can be very aggressive and try to knock you out of the way, and sometimes you will just pull up to a pileup and try to maneuver your way around it. The racing can get very intense and I love it. The cockpit view feels great and I never left it for another perspective, which is why I really never cared about tricking out my car with stickers because I'm never really going to be looking at it. But if you do want to do that, then you always can look back at your replays and watch your race car and look at how well you performed. There are around 36 tracks in total to choose from, and some of them are just different variations of the same tracks, especially my favorite track of all time, the Nürburgring. The beautiful 12.88 mile German track. I can't count how many times me and my friend have raced each other on this course, and it just gives me so many fond memories and will certainly go down as my favorite track in history. In any game, honestly, and Need for Speed Shift does a great job with importing this track into their game. The only real thing I can complain about this game is that you earn so much money so quickly. Not only are you earning money from winning races, but whenever you are leveling up, you are earning sponsorship bonuses as well. It never really made the game too difficult because you could just always buy the best performance parts very quickly. There was never a sense of having to grind, which isn't always a bad thing, but it can lead to making the game way too easy. Guys, I love Need for Speed Shift. It is one of my favorite Need for Speed titles, honestly. It's probably not going to beat games such as like Most Wanted or Underground, but it's completely in a different world in its own anyway, and I really think it shouldn't be compared to those other Need for Speed titles. But at the end of the day, I love it. It deserves the Need for Speed name. The sense of speed in this game is just great. And I recommend everybody who's a Need for Speed fan to check out this title if you haven't already. I can't wait till we get to Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed, so we'll talk about that when that time comes. Guys, my name is Pedro Ordonez, also known as GameLight7. Please subscribe, comment, like, thumbs up. Do whatever you guys can to support this channel. I do have a Patreon link in the description box down below if you want to support me even further. And guys, thank you so much for your continued support, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Peace out.